You know, people are always concerned with their credit score, but are you really in control of that number? Walt Burch is the co-founder and editor-in-chief of DebtReliefCenter.org, and he's here to kind of explain this. You know, I look at the three credit bureaus as kind of this like spooky thing that people have to deal with that don't really understand. Can you make some sense of it for us?
Sure, and it's not quite as mystical as people think. People look at this big eye in the sky, Big Brother is watching you, and there are three credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and really they're intended to help lenders make quick decisions on credit. That's one of the functions they provide in society. If lenders had to, do extensive background checks on everybody to make decisions, everything would come to a screeching halt. But what they do is basically, a credit score is based on five different factors. Mm-hmm. One is your on-time payment status, and recent on-time payment status is more important than anything. Another is the amount of credit you are using, the amount of available credit. So 35% is on-time payment status, 30% is the amount of credit you are using.
Wow.
So a person that thinks, I've been on time forever, I've never missed a payment in my life, how come my credit score isn't higher? Because you may be using 80 or 90% of your available credit. Lenders like to see you use under 30% of your available credit. It's like anything else in life. They will give you credit, but they hope that you don't need it. That's the
So
truth.
available credit, how do you get that number?
Well, the available credit you're using, you can understand through on the revolving credit side. If you have a card that has a $10,000 limit on a card, and you're using $1,000, lenders just love it. And you're paying on time, it's wonderful.
Oh, okay.
They've got credit, they're not using it, they must be a great risk.
Yeah.
But they say, this person is using 100% of it, and they just applied for a new card. My goodness, they're maxing out on credit.
Yeah.
So 35% is one, 30 is another, the amount of credit you're using. Your mix of credit is very important. Lenders like to see that you can responsibly use different types of credit well.
Like car loans and house loans.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, okay.
So they see, okay, here's Carlos, and Carlos has a car loan, he's on time. Here's his home loan, he's on time.
Right.
He's able to responsibly pay off his credit cards. All of those things matter, as opposed to a person saying, I have one type of credit, it's revolving credit cards, and I'm maxed. You can see how the flip side of that works.
Yeah. So tell me about your organization, DebtReliefCenter.org. You have all kinds of tools in that toolbox that can help people. Tell me about those tools.
We do. Over the years, we've had, between Debt Relief Center and the state sites that we've had over 20 million visitors come to us looking for help with credit and debt, but specifically how to get out of debt. That's what they come to us primarily for. And when we do that, we refer them to accredited providers in each state, because each state has different laws on how they can be organized. But what we found is that a fraction of those people, less than 10%, actually get referred for assistance. What we do want to do is provide everybody help. We want to take control, help as best we can, so we've provided free tools. We had a community program that we've developed called Project Debt Box. It can be downloaded for free online, and it's basically how to deal with creditors, how to understand your credit score. There's a program called the Debt Snowball that Dave Ramsey and others have made very popular.
Yeah.
And all these things actually work. The biggest thing about credit and debt is that many people feel powerless. They feel guilty when problems happen.
Yes.
And they get down on themselves, and then they start playing this game thinking that I will never get out. We want to empower people, and we want to show them there are tools, there are things you can do, and you would be amazed that even self-help things like calling up your creditors on your own can be very effective. Over 50%, studies have shown, over 50% of the people who are calling creditors for concessions are getting some form of relief, even if it's a few lower interest rates or a late fee waive or an annual fee taken away. These things are happening out there.
So let me ask you this question, because we hear a lot of commercials on the radio and on television and everywhere about these, we can settle your debt 10 cents on the dollar. There's a lot of also scams out there.
Yes.
How can we be sure that what we're doing is the right thing and we're dealing with a legitimate business?
What a great question. It really is. First of all, prior to 2010, in the debt resolution industry, there was a lot of companies that really were taking advantage of people and taking upfront fees that they did very little for them or nothing. The biggest thing is, in 2010, laws changed which prohibited companies, unless they were attorney-based, for charging any upfront fees for debt relief services. They couldn't charge any fee until debts were successfully reduced or resolved.
Oh, wow.
So that's a very important thing for consumers
sure
to
is.
know, because the industry did have a very negative connotation. But I will say to you that one of the biggest things is you should always check a company's BBB rating.
Better Business Bureau.
Better Business, they should always check the BBB rating. And if any company, you mentioned 10 cents on the dollar, tells you that you can get out of debt for 10 cents on the dollar, you should run. It's really not true. Generally, as a rule of thumb, it's Companies, the biggest thing that companies do when they help you is they break the cycle. Because you continue to accumulate new debt, you're never going to get out of debt. But if they say, let's freeze the existing debt that you have and either reduce the interest rates in a debt management program, because there's two types of programs, either reduce the interest rates in a debt management program or look to resolve your debts and settle for less than the full amount. Those are the two things you can do. But generally, the percentages are you're going to save 25, 30%, 40% maximum, but you are breaking the cycle of debt and you're getting out for debt for less.
Well, Walt, we appreciate all this great explanation. Again, the website is debtreliefcenter.org. Check it out. A lot of great tools there. Walt, great to have you here. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you, and thanks.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good.